Welcome to the Inner Chief Podcast, episode 358. I am your host, Greg Layton, founder of Chiefmaker and the Council of Chiefs. I believe there is a great chief in all of us, and that through listening to the stories, strategies, and techniques of great CEOs and gurus, each of you can find and leave your own legacy through your work and life. The Inner Chief Podcast is where you will learn how to think and make moves like a CEO, like a true chief. For over a decade, I've helped CEOs and senior executives around the world boldly lead change, inspire their people, and leave a legacy. On the Inner Chief Podcast, I bring these stories to life with deep diving CEO interviews, interspersed with minisodes covering key leadership challenges, so you will find your own path to greatness as an executive.
G'day, Chief. Welcome to the Inner Chief Podcast, episode 358. We continue our series on how to give feedback and embed it in your team's culture. Today, we're going to talk all about how to deliver like a true chief. In episode 357, we spoke about how to prepare like a coach. And I mentioned a downloadable PDF which will help you. It's got all the scripts I'm going to talk about today, plus a few bonus ones, and all the material to prepare and then embed across the team. Go to chiefmaker.com/feedback if you would like to get that downloadable PDF. Chief, as I mentioned in 357, by the way, if you haven't listened to that, please go back and listen to it. It is important context for this episode. We spoke about how to prepare like a coach. Today in 358, we're going to talk about how to deliver like a true chief with some specific feedback methods and scripts. And then we're going to talk in episode 59 about how to give feedback or create the culture across your team. Okay, Chief, I want to give 6 rapid methods now on how to deliver like a true chief, and just some processes and some scripts that might help you bring this to life. Okay, first method to deliver like a true chief is the straight up method. It's the most common form of feedback. It's regular. It's all the time. There's no emotion to it. Okay, really simple. Remember, if you bring emotion to feedback, that person will feel it. And I go, wow, this is heavy time. But if you just off the cuff, just say something. Hey, Matt, I was just thinking next time we're in that meeting with the COO, you could just do this, like a 1% idea. You reckon that would help? Like, there's nothing to it. You're just collaborating, trying to do something better. Just the straight up, zero stress. Hey, next time we're in there, hey, we should do this. Oh, what do you reckon? Yeah. Straight up feedback, working together collaboratively, really, really powerful. Put that in your kit bag, Chief, and use it all the time. Okay? Number 2 is the self-rate method. Everyday kind of feedback designed to create this flow of conversation around how to get better. Okay? Now, I was asked recently, I was presenting to a rugby union club, and somebody said to me, hey, if you're not really that confident as an athlete getting feedback from your coach, what might you do? And here's this whole self-rate thing is about getting specific and allowing someone to either give you feedback or to request feedback in a really easy manner. So what it's about is not saying your whole performance is terrible or doesn't need improving. It's getting into this quite specific. So here's a few scripts. How would you rate your performance in that meeting out of 10? Really simple. It gets them into just one meeting, a really simple thing. Hey, what rating out of 5 would you give you and me, us, in that meeting with that client? What is one thing we could do better as a team to improve that rating by 1? Hey, Chief, if we're just going to talk about your performance in sales right now and your ability to create prospects, what do you think is one thing you could do better? Or what do you think your performance rating is for getting prospects out of 5 as opposed to closing prospects out of 5. And so we're starting to get this flow of conversation. Once again, don't bring too much heavy emotion to this. This is about curiosity and always having their best interests at heart. If somebody will feel that, Chief, if they know that these questions are only coming because you really want them to achieve their dreams, to achieve their goals, then they will accept it every time. Okay? So the self-rate method. Dial it in on one thing. Rate yourself in a meeting, rate yourself in your ability to do sales or HR or partner meetings or to develop a particular kind of policy, whatever it is. Rate them and then work together to see how they can improve that number by just 1. Oh, you rated yourself a 3 out of 5 on policy development. What do you think it would take to get us to 4? Like, what do you reckon? Simple as that. The heads up version is, or the heads up feedback is the next method of feedback. Heads up is sort of like a bit of a shot across the bow sometimes, but it's more about just bringing their attention to the fact that people are noticing. So it's when someone does something maybe a bit out of character, maybe they drop the ball, and it's about showing them you care and you've noticed. Hey, I noticed you haven't been yourself lately. Maybe a little on edge, and you're a bit short in that meeting with Bob. Is everything okay? Okay, so it's genuine. It's, hey, I noticed something. I care about you. I notice what's happening with you every day. Okay? Hey, I noticed you having to leave the office a bit early at the minute. Hey, is everything okay? Hey, I noticed lately that you're just like really, really doing an incredible job. Like above what I've seen before. Hey, what's going on? This is amazing. What have you changed? Tell me. Right, heads up is great feedback because the feedback then on the good things as well, right? Fantastic. Okay, so that's the heads up. So we've done the straight up, the self-rate, the heads up. The next one is going to your values and standards as a method. Okay, so this is normally store this up for when behavior is outside of agreed standards or they're doing something that's unacceptable, or you want to validate that someone's done something brilliant that is really demonstrating the values. Okay, so here's one way, a bit of a script about how to use values. One little thing that helps me sometimes is when I'm under pressure, I see if I can use values or our corporate values or our team values to sort of guide me to a good approach to responding. How do you think we could have responded in that meeting, in that situation, using the values? So what it means is something's going on, the behavior or the action is not as good as it could be, it's certainly not aligned to values. We want to lean into our values to use it. Hey Jane, this month I saw you get under pressure with a client. And what I noticed was that your response was so aligned with our customer at the heart value. You just stopped. You went slow. You listened. You really understood, let them vent a bit. And as a result, we've gained probably a client for life. And I just think you did such a brilliant job. A really good backup kind of to some amazing work someone in the team has been doing. The fifth method is the insight method. If you go back to episode 357, I spoke about an insight made by the coach is owned by the coach. An insight made by the client, the person you're giving feedback to, is owned by the client. So this is if someone is in stuck mode. They can't see their actions are impacting others. They don't want to move. Our aim and everything we do in this moment is to help them have an insight. Now, one of the methods I use is called perceptual positions. It's from the world of neurolinguistics. And what we sometimes do is we might recreate a meeting room, go back into the meeting room after the meeting is finished, and I get my client to replay the meeting from like a fly on the wall and then sitting in different seats around the room. Hey, what's it like looking over at Peter? When Peter speaks to me, what's that like? Okay, then I might go into Julie's seat or I might go into Shane's seat. All these different positions allow someone to upload and consider what's it actually like to be in someone else's shoes. They are having the insight and therefore they own it. So that's a process using space that you can use, right? The other way to do it is purely linguistically, right? Using a script like this. In that meeting, if you were in Ryan's seat, how would you have felt if you said, well, Peter said this, or Peter said, I don't think that's good enough, or nah, or just shook their head, all was silent. How do you think they felt in that moment, right? Here's another one. Or you definitely use this with clients with really tricky scenarios. Hey, if you were the CEO of this organization and the COO did this, what would you do? Assuming you're talking to the COO, right? You're trying to get them to understand what it would be like being the CEO dealing with their performance. So the GM of sales has missed yet another target. The COO comes to the GM of sales and says, hey, if you were the COO and the GM of sales missed target for the third quarter in a row, what would you do? So what it's doing is making that GM of sales feel what it's like being someone else. The insight is made by the client. The last one, Chief, to put in your kit bag, and I said there's a few more in that PDF you can access, is the metaphor method. This is about elegance. This is about doing something that's really easy. You tell a story, an analogy, or use a quote to deliver a message in a really non-confrontational, sometimes inspirational way, right? Here's a couple of examples of more like quotes or analogies to help you get there, right? Steve, I think as we try and influence this, we might need to follow the Delta Force motto, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Right? As Sun Tzu said, treat your men as you would your most beloved sons, and they will follow you into the deepest valley. A quote may be useful from time to time. Another one, and I gave an example at the beginning about the story, in episode 357, about the feedback I had been given from Chad. Sharing a story about your own experience of failure, of trying to wrestle and get better and grow is a wonderful way of giving some feedback. It validates and normalizes that all of us are imperfect and trying our best to get somewhere. And that is the truth. None of us are the finished product. All of us have been working throughout our careers to get to a certain place. So, Chief, using that metaphor, that opportunity to tell your own story, to use a quote, to do something, it's a really elegant way of sending a message, of sharing a bit of a process with someone. So, Chief, that's the 6 methods to deliver like a true chief. There are another bunch within the download, that chiefmaker.com/feedback. I encourage you to go there and get that. In our 3rd episode in the series, episode 359, we're going to talk about the 3 things you can do to foster a culture of feedback across your team. Look forward to having your company then, Chief. As always, remember to stay epic. Chief, all the resources can be found at chiefmaker.com/358, or just check it out on YouTube. Go to chiefmaker.com/YouTube. Chief, do you want to know how to give and receive feedback like an elite sporting coach? I've bridged the gap between elite sport and business now for about 15 years, and I've been taking some of those lessons from sport into business. We've turned that into a really cool downloadable PDF, and there's also some accompanying episodes of the podcast. Just go to chiefmaker.com/feedback. There's a really awesome PDF. It's got templates, it's got scripts, process, things to consider about how to give feedback, prepare for feedback, and foster a culture in your team. chiefmaker.com/feedback. And if you would like to stay in touch and hear all about some of the best resources that you can find anywhere in the world to improve your performance at work, go to chiefmaker.com/
subscribe. Now, Chief, if you're yet to rate the episode and subscribe, I hope you'll do so soon. It helps others see the magnificent value that the chiefs and gurus bring to their life and career. So make sure you hit subscribe on your podcast app now, give it a 5-star rating if you think it's worthy, and leave a short review about your favourite episode. Righto, Chiefs, as always, remember to stay epic.